Welcome back for some more thoughts, theories, and questions. Batman Animated Series, Season 1, Episode 5, Part 1 of a Part 2, or a Part 1 of a two-parter, a Feat of Clay. So let me give you a brief rundown of the characters in the episode. Batman, Alfred, Roland Daggett, Germs, Summer Gleason, Teddy, Clayface, Lucius Fox, and Belle. I thought a couple interesting voice casting facts. Ed Asner as Roland Daggett. I know Ed Asner, just the first thing that comes to mind is the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where Larry's trying to get, or Cheryl's trying to get money out of Ed Asner's character for some RDC something benefit. But that's why I know he's known for a whole bunch more other stuff. The voice of the dad of the grandpa in Up. I think that's him. And then Ron Perlman is Clayface. Ron Perlman, you know, he was the original live action Hellboy, Sons of Anarchy, Blade, Trinity. Was he in the second one? He wasn't in the third one. I think he was in the second one. And I haven't seen the show, but George R. Martin, he talks about how he used to work on the show Beauty and the Beast, and that Ron Perlman was the Beast in that show. He does great with that makeup, man. He's also probably the only white person on Earth that I'm like, I think he got some black in him. Ron Perlman stumps every black person. Ask a black person if Ron Perlman's black. I bet you they'll say yeah. And I don't think he is at all. I could be mistaken. But yeah. Okay, so I'll give a brief synopsis of the episode. Again, it's Feat of Clay. And so this isn't exactly the particulars of the episode, but I'm giving you the long and short of it so you can understand my thoughts, theories, and questions. But definitely go watch it. Watch the show. Always watch the show. So, synapses. Yeah, I need these synapses so I can talk about the synopsis. So, it's basically an industrial takeover. Daggett Industries is trying to take over Wayne Enterprises. So, Daggett's doing some illegal stuff. And Lucius Fox, who's CEO of Wayne Enterprises, is called by Bruce Wayne to meet him like at 3 a.m. at some, closed tramway. So he can give him these papers for Daggett. And so Lucius Fox goes to the tramway, meets with Bruce Wayne, or who we think is Bruce Wayne. And then Bruce Wayne seems to have turned on Lucius and is trying to take these criminal documents that can get Roland Daggett into trouble. He's trying to take them away. And so Lucius Fox runs away with the briefcase. The evil Bruce Wayne has these guys with him, these gunmen, and so they're trying to take out Lucius, trying to stop him. Batman comes to save the day, but when he gets there, there's only the 3 gunmen. That evil Bruce Wayne vanished. And so then next we go over to Imperial Pictures. And we find out that there's an actor there who uses this Daggett face cream, and it's basically quick plastic surgery. It's as if somebody figured out a formula so that way you don't have to go in the office and wait, and you can just get a little putty and get yourself right. If you want to get the cheekbones, the chin, you want to get the BBLs, you just got to wipe it on and you good. That's what this stuff is supposed to do for this actor. This particular stuff is supposed to allow him to not only cover up his scarred face from an accident he had, but also it allows him to become any character he wants to. So we see him dealing with that and being addicted to the cream, and we figure out that he's under the control of Daggett, who, in order to get more of the face cream, he has to do these evil deeds for Daggett. And so from there, we go over to Matt Hagen is the actor's name. We go over to Matt Hagen, and he's trying to sneak in to go get some more of the Daggett formula, because he doesn't want to keep having to go through Daggett. So he's going to sneak in and grab it. He gets found out by a couple of the goons that were at the tramway earlier in the episode. They work for Daggett. Germs and Bell, two of the characters I mentioned earlier. And so they capture Matt Hagen. They pour a whole bunch of the face cream on him, and they OD. They say, all right, because they were going to take him out and have him swim with the fishes, but they said, all right, cool. You want to keep fighting us? We're going to get rid of all this chemical. It's like the Substance, the Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley movie. It's like that type of action. It allows you to be whatever you want. But anyways, they OD poured on him, and then Germs and Bell put Matt Hagen in his car, which is in the alleyway next to Daggett Industries, and they leave him there. Batman is trying to figure out why Lucius Fox was at the tramway and what these guys have to do with it. He recognizes one of the guys he whooped. He whoops his butt. He recognizes, he's like, I remember whooping somebody's butt that way before. I wonder if and so he looks him up in the database and finds out who he is. So, he can recognize somebody by whooping their butt, whooping their ass. So he figures out who he is. Meanwhile, Bell, he always wears these like headphones where he's connected to a police scanner, so he's listening in and he's staying low. He's at Fat Paulie's pool hall, staying low. And Batman hacks into the communication of his police dispatch, and he basically makes him think that the cops are on to him. So my man starts running, and Batman finds him in the Batwing. And basically, he goes through this big old car, air, road, tunnel chase, trying to get information from Bell, but Bell ends up fainting, passing out, from fear, from all the intimidation Batman's trying to, I guess, bestow on him. So Batman drops him off for the cops to arrest him. And because Batman didn't get any answers, he's like, all right, I'm going to go figure out what's going on. By the way, when he was figuring out who Bell was at the Batcave, Alfred was letting him know, the cops keep coming through, and I keep telling them you're not here, but I'm going to have to do something about that. And Batman's like, what are you talking about? And so this is when Alfred hands him a newspaper, and Batman finds out that Lucius said that Bruce Wayne was the one that attacked him at the tramway. Remember, it was Bruce Wayne, but it was the evil Bruce Wayne. Matt Hagen with the face cream, Bruce Wayne. Yeah, see how they did that? So, so he's confused. So then he climbs into Lucius Fox's hospital room to question him. And Lucius Fox is scared. He remembers that. He's like, yo, this is the Bruce Wayne that tried to get me murked at the tramway. So he hits the boop, boop, calls the police button. The police come and they arrest him. They arrest Bruce Wayne. So the episode ends with Bruce Wayne being arrested. And of course, he allowed himself to get arrested, but it's like, dang, he's stuck, or seemingly. Meanwhile, we cut back to Teddy. Teddy is the stand-in for Matt Hagen. So when I said they had cut to Imperial Industries after the tramway robbery fight incident, it was Matt Hagen and Teddy. Teddy's the stand-in for Matt Hagen. Matt Hagen's a star, but Teddy's cautioning him. He's like, hey, man, you got to stop using that face stuff. It's messing you up, and it is messing with his head. He could have been a diva before. He could have been an a-hole before because he was a star, but it seems like Teddy's taken back by Matt Hagen's behavior. So anyways, Teddy's the one that goes into the alleyway next to Daggett Industries, and he sees he sees Matt Hagen's car, but he's not sure if that's Matt in it. So he's walking up, and Sure enough, the horrifying little reveal in the rearview mirror, and Matt Hagen has officially turned into Clayface. He's officially in his moldy, and I think at this point he can't control it. So he's just, my man Bell called him a slime ball. He's just a mess. And so that's the first part. Part 1, Feat of Clay. And so some of the things I wrote down was I mentioned how Batman hacks into the Bell's police dispatch so he can pretend like he's this dispatch and make Bell think that the cops are after him. Now, in Batman Arkham Knight, because I like watching people play through, but I'm a play. I got it. I just got to play my way up. I'm returning to Arkham Asylum now. But tangent aside, one of the things he does in Arkham Knight is he can hack into Arkham Knight's goons' communication system and communicate to them as if he was the Arkham Knight and have them go check certain stuff, and he sets traps for them. So I'm sure this is in comics and other stuff too. But I thought it was dope. I see a lot of inspiration from Batman the Animated Series, or a lot of things that they might take little bits here from there from Batman the Animated Series in the games, which is dope. And again, I get it. The games might just be one of the things. Maybe they're really taking it from the source of the comics. But either way, I think it's dope. I like that everybody. I like that the people that work on the different mediums of Batman, they like to take and get inspiration from each other's Batman or Gotham's play boxes, playgrounds. You know, it adds to the richness of Gotham, and I think that's why when we see stories about it, it's been working. So yeah, I thought that was dope. So earlier, they have beginning of the episode, it's night, it's like 3 a.m. Remember when I said Lucius Fox was meeting Bruce Wayne? He didn't realize it wasn't Bruce Wayne, but Bruce Wayne, to give him these papers. They go into the closed tramway, and they show Bruce Wayne move a plank of wood for him and Lucius to go through the fence to go deeper in outside of the street light and stuff. And they show the plank fall and make noise. And I was like, why even do that? It's not like that's just, I mean, maybe to the animators, it's just a couple of drawings and the sound effect. But I'm like, no, like, if you're putting that in there, it's for a reason. Now, I'm sure it could be atmosphere just to show things aren't always solid and perfect. But I'd like to think, theory time, I like to think it's a clue that that's not really Bruce Wayne. I'm not totally sure. And Bruce Wayne's good at being, or seeming like he's a klutz. Like he's not the Batman. Like he's not Batman himself. Or at least when time calls for it. But I wonder if Bruce Wayne, I wonder if some things bleed into Bruce Wayne's life, that Batman does. Like maybe Bruce Wayne he can't turn off his athleticism. Maybe it's to the point to where it's so much muscle memory, And not that would give him away, but I'm just curious about what aspects or traits of Batman's nightlife might sneak over into Bruce Wayne without him realizing it. And I think one of them is just how careful Bruce Wayne is. And so I think that's a clue. Bruce Wayne, just by nature, he's not going to be making noise, and, he's Batman too much to the core. Now, that might not be true. There might be evidence against that in future episodes. But I'd like to think that's why they took the time to draw the wood plank, lose balance, fall, and then make a sound. What else? Oh, I thought it was interesting when Batman's fighting the goons in the closed tramway. There's Bells, there's Germs, and then there's a third guy that Bells hired. He owed him a favor or something. I say all that to say, Batman has a pretty easy time with the extra guy that was hired by Bell and Bell himself. Batman wipes him out easy. He seems to be in a bit of a tussle with Germs. Now, it's interesting. I just took this little clue. I was like, well, if he has a nickname Germs, and they show him later on in the episode, he's talking to Daggett, and it seems like he's Daggett's right-hand man. He has a cloth. He seems to be very OCD, so that's probably why they call him Germs, because he wants to remain clean as possible. But I also like to think, because Batman had a bit of a time with him, that maybe he wasn't just your average henchman. Maybe as a inspiration or a callback from like the James Bond villains, or they seem to be just very quiet, and some of them are you're not sure, and then when it's time they reveal their thing that makes them special, or they actually use it. So I'm thinking that's what Germs is. Germs is always seemingly, he's Daggett's right-hand man. He's clean, he's professional, he's like Alfred to Daggett. But also, one of the reasons Daggett has him around is because he can handle himself. Because if somebody tries to roll up on Roland, you know what I'm saying, maybe Germs knows how to handle them. You know what I'm saying? He's like, they call me Germs, but they can catch these hands. Mr. Clean. He's like, I clean with these. So that was a theory as to why Batman had a hard time with Germs. I mean, it wasn't the hardest time, but I'm thinking Batman trains all the time. So the fact that he can't just take out Germs is because Germs isn't your average goon. He's a callback to maybe the James Bond days. If he seems like he's just a regular right hand, and then all of a sudden, it's like in well, no, I think that's a good enough example. Let me move on. So, being that Matt Hagen, he wasn't Clayface at the beginning of the episode, but he could clearly fool Lucius Fox into thinking that he was Bruce Wayne. So that makes me think, is it possible Matt Hagen was any of the other characters we saw in the episode, in the first part? I mean, in the story, they didn't make it a point to show that, so that obviously wasn't the writer's intention. I'm curious if there's possibility for Hagen to be in the story without us realizing. Maybe he was right in front of our faces. He could have been, maybe he could have been a Teddy in a scene, or he could have played Belle. Oh, but he hasn't mastered changing the clothes yet, so that would call him out. So maybe not. It's not until he becomes Clayface that he can then change clothes as well. I think at this point he could just change his face, his voice, maybe not so much his body. So being a fan of I'm sure I've listened to a whole bunch of podcasts, and so I say all that to say, Mark Hamill, I remember hearing or watching after he was in Star Wars and had the success of that. I'm not sure if it was after the first one or the second one, but he got into a car accident, and it affected his face. I think he had to get some prosthetic surgery, cosmetic surgery. And I'm not sure how bad it was, but I remember it being a thing. And I remember when I was younger thinking that Luke Skywalker's face just looked more battle hardened in the second and third one. Or maybe it was just the third one, but I just remember there being a change to his face. And I remember being young and noticing it. But I say all that to say, I see some parallels with Matt Hagen's story. When Matt Hagen's in his trailer and they have some newspaper clippings behind him, it talks about, a star involved in an accident that scars his face. No, it doesn't say it's a car accident. And I believe Mark Hamill was in a car accident when that happened. But I thought, wow, what an interesting parallel. Now, Mark Hamill, didn't go on to not get work simply because he didn't look a certain way. I don't think it really changed. I'm sure he'll have a different opinion, but as far as I'm concerned, as a fan that doesn't see him all the time, it looked a little bit different. But I mean, we all get older, so it wasn't like, is that Mark? It's like, no, that's Mark Hamill. Cool. And he seemed to have a great career. I'm sure better than he could even imagined. But yeah, I see some parallels with Mark Hamill's career and Matt Hagen's career. And then, of course, the tie-in of Mark Hamill playing the Joker in the series. But I just thought it was interesting. And I wouldn't mind seeing Mark Hamill play Clayface. Especially if, there's a bit, like I said, there's a bit of a parallel right there. We don't often get to see Mark Hamill in live action show all the wonderful tools and different characters I'm sure he can display. So I would be down. And he's a storyteller, man. He is a storyteller. I could listen to him tell stories a lot. He just has so much, and he has such a great memory, it seems like. Now I got that from podcast episodes. But yes, what else? Matt Hagen is definitely like an addict. He's definitely like wigging out, you know. I mean, he's doing stuff that he probably doesn't even really believe in doing, right? He wasn't involved in a life of crime before he had the face cream. Now he is. He's willing to commit crimes, to hurt people, to get people killed so he can have some face cream. So he can keep his stardom and his fame and his... So yeah, I mean, this is a kid's show. An episode that's based on an industrial hostile takeover, dealing with a man, an adult trying to keep his career and his mind because of his ego and how he looks, and yeah, awesome. And by also I mean complex, and what to me that's rich stuff you put in a kid's animation show. You know, you letting them know about the real world, but also being like, here, look, have some fun. Look at Batman. So not all movie stars or stars in general, or celebrities die in car accidents. But what came to mind was that these pivotal points in these people's careers and actors dealing with cars. I think of James Dean when he passed away. I think it was a car accident. Like I said, Mark Hamill was scarred, and you being a movie star, television star, I mean, your face is your livelihood, and it wasn't, you know, and it's I'm sure it's tough to deal with mentally. Also Clayface, it doesn't say his accident happens in the car, but he seems to make his final transition, his final step toward Clayface in his car, at least in this episode. And so I think it's interesting, like this connection of like these movie stars and cars. And then I just heard something on a YouTube video or something about John Bernthal was telling a story about how he was filming King Richard with Will Smith, and they lived 2 hours from where they were filming, and they were talking about driving 100+ miles an hour on the freeway home. And it's like unfathomable. I mean, I wouldn't do that if there was nobody on the road. I want to live. I'm not sure, but I mean, I'm sure when you're a star and you got the power, and I'm sure you feel like, yes, the chances of me surviving this are greater. And I mean, him not getting stopped. But I say all that to say it's just this interesting thing with, like, you know, cars and celebrities and these incidences that aren't always going well. Now, obviously, Jerry Seinfeld blows that out the water because he has comedians in cars getting coffee, and that's pleasant. That's wonderful. But yeah, just thought it was interesting. Cars, stars, and Clayface connections. Anything else I have here? Oh, so I was wondering if that maybe Matt Hagen liked doing his favors for Daggett, only because when you're an actor and, you know, they talk about stakes, you know, you have to put your mind in a space to where what you're doing, it matters enough to you. And as the character, you have to, and as a actor, maybe not as the character always, but as actor, you have to understand, why am I doing this? What is causing me to do this? And you have to make it important. Like, what happens if I fail? And so it's the stakes. And so I think Matt Hagen might actually enjoy doing these dangerous things for Daggett, because he's like, I actually get to put my acting to the test. It's not just a camera. It's not just editing music, makeup, filters, CGI, angles, you know, lighting. That's going to make the audience believe. But I'm actually going to be in the middle of like some crime, or I could possibly, you know, There's a rush. Something might go wrong. So I have to be on point, or I can face the consequences. I might die. I could get killed. So I think he might get a little bit of a rush from that, Because, I mean, if you can act, he fooled Lucius into thinking he was Bruce Wayne. I'm sure that's an ego boost. What they say, you can't get the Oscar? They say you can't get a Golden Globe? My G, I do this in real life. I make sure, you know what I'm saying? I trick people into doing crime. I get to, you know what I mean? Or whatever. But I just thought that was interesting. I was like, I think he might, it's not, I don't think it's only Daggett forcing him, hey, you want this face cream, the desperation. I think he likes kind of being in the middle of it, like, I'm a real actor. You know why? Because I fooled them and I didn't get killed. I didn't, So yeah. So I think on some like Oedipus Rex, I think Matt Hagen was going to be Clayface regardless. There's a difference between being Clayface overnight and being and slowly but surely turning into Clayface by the time you're like 60, 70. Like if he was in a is it Batman Beyond episode? But yeah, he's just too addicted to it. I'm like, so what if he got his way? What if Daggett said, you know what? You're totally off the hook. Just give me a percentage of what you make, because I am the reason why you're still working, clearly. And we good. I forgot why I was even mentioning that Daggett would do that with him. But Daggett wasn't about that life. Daggett was about, I'm going to use him because I need people I can use. I need expendables. I don't know. It's interesting because Matt Hagen was a star, so Daggett had to be careful, right? I mean, you don't want people knowing, oh, but I guess he's figuring Matt Hagen's not going to give that up. He will die before he makes sure anybody knows that he can't really, do what he does. Daggett's smart, man. Daggett's smart. But yeah, I think Hagen gets a rush. I think he likes to do it. I think Clayface was going to become... Oh, there you go. That's where I was at. That Hagen was going to become Clayface regardless. So, yeah. So, I think that's what I was saying. I said if Daggett was going to give him... So, yeah, let's say Daggett does make the best dream come true. Let's say he says, yeah, you can star in all the movies. Just give me a small percentage. You're good. I think Hagen would still use it. But, your skin's not going to hold up. Anytime you're trying to make something malleable, the more you make it malleable and you don't give it time to replenish, rejuvenate, strengthen, rest. He wasn't going to let it rest. Every 24 hours, he had to apply more. And I'm sure that time frame would have got smaller and smaller the more his body would break down and rely on it some more. Like it clearly eventually did. So I think Clayface was always going to be in Matt Hagen's future as soon as he met Daggett. Yeah, I think that's it. Shout out to Summer Gleason, news reporting. She was reporting on Bruce Wayne getting arrested. So it's just interesting how you said the dichotomy of, I'm sure, her rooting for Batman, even though he's a criminal and Bruce Wayne's innocent, but I'm sure she's looking like, oh man, the evil, the rich billionaire. Now, I guess I shouldn't put that on her because she's just reporting the news. But good to see her multiple times, some continuity. That's always cool. I think that's it. So I guess some life lessons that I get from episode 5. Part 1. Well, I guess what comes to mind is Marcus Aurelius. Life is change. So you have to be willing to let go. Because you have no choice. Life is change. You have to prepare yourself. Not to always let go of everything, but I guess to let go enough to keep moving forward. You can't hold on so hard that you're not moving forward, that you can't move on, that you can't figure out a way. And then let's see what else. I mean, I don't know. I guess sometimes you just can't control when sucky stuff happens. It's great that Matt Hagen, it doesn't seem like his health is affected by the accident. It seemed like it was more of superficial damage. So I guess, I mean, to think positively about that. But I'm sure what he wanted to do, what he loved to do, what he felt he was put on this planet to do, he can no longer do. So his world is shattered. So then how do you go about, so I guess something to learn from is, what, just a question to ask myself. What do I do if I ever feel like I shattered? Because that could be a real thing, I don't think I have ever been passionate about something like maybe Matt Hagen's passionate about acting. But I mean, they already said he was one of the greatest before he got into his accident. So then to seemingly have that taken from you, because, it's a lot easier. It would be easier to say it's his fault why he got into the accident, but let's just say it isn't. Let's say he was doing everything he was supposed to do, and it's worked out this way. So I guess there's understanding that change is going to happen, and there's like a level of acceptance. Yeah, acceptance, and I guess creativity. Acceptance that this is the avenue you might no longer be able to go down, but maybe now you have to be creative and create your own. Maybe he has to create his own independent movies. Now, back then, I mean, YouTube wasn't a thing, so I'm sure that's like, what? But I mean, you got the time. It's better than doing crimes to try to hold on to something that's not there anymore. And that will probably, well, I mean, it did destroy him. I mean, look at him. He has like no structure. Yeah, so I guess just when you come up against the undefeated entity that is change, you breathe, you understand that change will happen, you accept it, and I guess, or this is for me, and I guess humble myself and find a way to move forward. Yeah, I mean, it don't make you feel good, but that's the dope thing I think I like about this show. Even though you could hear it in the music, they try to give it a little, it's a kid show, have a good day. Yeah, this was sad, but a cartoon cereal, But it's like shows like, no. Nope. Those tricks are for kids, and those colorful toys ain't gonna save you. There are Daggets in the world. There are rolling Daggets in the world. Daggett Industries, businesses in the world. They don't care about people. They just want the money. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. So how do you respond? And there's no right way to respond. There's no correct, perfect way to respond. How do you respond? This is me talking to me. Yeah. So I guess that's what I get from it. But yeah, cool. It's interesting. The show rides that line of like, it's a cartoon or it's animated. So, I guess you distance yourself enough from the realness to feel like it's a break, or from the real life to feel like it's a break. But then you're also feel like you're not being fooled into thinking this reality you're taking a break from is different than what it really is. It's like, no, it sucks. It doesn't always feel good. Yep, you're not going to get what you want. Yes, it is. It isn't like, oh, yes, I did. I checked all my boxes for today. Now I can go home. And it's like, no, there's going to be stuff that's bothering you. There's going to be stuff that's undone. There's going to be, and I guess it's just how do I respond to those? And that's what I'm working on, because I just need to learn how to chill and breathe. To all of that, chill and breathe. I'm trying to be the chillest poet warrior. The chillest artist warrior. You feel me? But yeah. Feat of Clay, Part 1, Batman the Animated Series, Season 1, Episode 5 on HBO Max, because I realized that there's a different order than what they were made, and then what they were put out, and then maybe even what they were intended to actually storyline be shown as. So this is the HBO Max order, HBO Max streaming order that I'm watching it in. Yeah, I should clarify. Watch the art, watch the art, watch the art. The art is what will inspire. Breath. All right, so peace. Episode 6, part 2. We're gonna try to get it in tomorrow, huh? Yeah. Oh. Because I have to come back and hit the stop button.